In this video, we're going to talk about a specific modeling tool in Blender, which is used to create either low poly modeling or high poly modeling using the rotation of a profile around an axis. Now, this is called, in other software, is called the Revolve modifier or Revolution, or also Lathe or Lathe modifier in software like Cinema 4D or 3ds Max or Maya. Now, I'm going to start all over. So I'm gonna go to new general and let's start from the beginning. We can use here the basic cube of the standard Blender scene. So to use this, let's go into the edit mode, because this tool in particular can be found in the various modeling tools, and it's down here. It's called the spin modifier or a spin tool. So how we can do this, how we can use it. Now we need to prepare the profile, and we only need a half of the profile. So we can start with something flat. We don't need solid like this. So if we do it with this, it's gonna extrude all the faces. It's gonna be like a mess. It's not gonna work too much. And you also can see that we are gonna create a circular extrusion around the 3D cursor right now, around the origin of our world. So let's go into the face selection and let's start to select some faces, and let's get rid of the faces that we don't need. And I'm gonna delete all the faces except this one here. So I'm gonna press X and say delete the faces. So I'm only left with this one here, which is not gonna rotate around these cursors. So I need to adjust this a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is stay here in edit mode actually, or go back to object mode. But make sure that you want to have this face in the origin. So we're gonna use move, and we're gonna use also the snap and to the absolute grid. So when I move this, I will move it precisely there. And then let's go in the editing of the points. So I'm gonna take these 2 points and I'm gonna move them right here. You can see it's snapping to the grid. So you may wanna work in 2D by clicking here. So you can see now I see the profile, and I can use the grid and the increments to the absolute grid. So if I move, you can see it's snapping to the grid. So if you want to work more precisely, more straight, you can use this regular grid. Now you can take points by point and you can place it using the grid. Be careful also if you have proportional editing on or off. Sometimes it's better on, sometimes it's better off. So let's say that this is my first profile like this. And it could be like the beginning of a cylinder, or like a roof shingle, could be a glass. Now let's see what we can do just with these simple steps. And if you find this difficult, you may want to have a look to the Blender video course. So it's gonna start from the beginning, from the really basics. So if you're okay, you can continue. Otherwise, you may want to check other video guides in the channel. So how we can do this? We can select all the faces, all the vertices, or all the edges. It's fine. It's the same exact thing. So let's select the face. And since this is a face, it's going to create a solid right away. If you have an open curve or a segment, it's going to create an open poly surface. So let's go to the spin and let's click on this plus and click and drag. You can see it's creating the revolve. It's creating the lathe modifier, the revolution around an axis. So if you want, again, something like a roof shingle, this could be fine. If I want a glass, I probably want to go all the way. So if you expand down here, this little tag, you can increase the number of the sides. So you can create something more simple, like, I don't know, a piece of an armor or something. Or you can create something curvy and rounded by increasing the steps or the number of polygons. So you can do high poly, you can do low poly, whatever you want. Now, if you do use duplicates, it's going to duplicate that into many other elements that can be used as well, I don't know, to create something that is going to be like similar to a polar array. So if I select all these faces here and I extrude those, this can become all elements. Here, let's do like extrude along normals, which is going to be better. So you can see how many things you can create with this. Can be used to create legs for a table or architecture, or whatever. So I'm going back to this shape again. I'm gonna do the spin, but this time I don't want to use duplicates. I just want to merge everything together. and I'm gonna go all the way 360 degrees, which means the whole round, the whole circle. And again, you can try with simple shapes like the triangle. This could become a base of different shapes. You can use a prism, you can use more rounded shape like this, and so on. Now, also you want to make sure you have auto merge. So it's going to automatically merge the vertices that are right here in the scene, so that this is an actual solid and it's not going to be an open surface. You can print it. You can also try with flip normals if something looks strange, and then you can adjust the center. Now, if I change the center, which is right now where the 3D cursor is, you can see that it's basically changing the shape. So it's making it larger or smaller because that's the path around the axis that the profile is doing, the shape is doing. And you can also try with the axis here. So you can see you can create some really strange results. And you can create like rims with this tool and other, well, anything that it's basically a profile around an axis, you can do it with this tool right here. Now, when you finish, you just say okay, and that's gonna be your object. But let's say that I want to create a glass and I need also a base down there. So let's go back to the shape. So let me just do Control Z, and let's make things a little bit more difficult. So what I'm gonna do is just create a cut where I can then define a base, and I will use the grid again. So what I'm gonna do is select the face first, make sure the face is selected, and I'm gonna use the bisect, which is one of the cutting tools in Blender, and I want to snap it to this. So I want to click there and then hold Control so that it goes straight horizontally, and that's it. That's my cut. And now I'm going to use another interesting tool, which is polybuild. And again, these tools are explained and treated in other videos. So you can see I can push the edge outside here and then adjust the vertices. They will need to be here on the blue axis perfectly so that everything goes around this and it's going to perfectly merge in there. So when I'm ready, again, I can do select all, and you can see I'm selecting all the vertices here. Well, let's assume that I select, oh, sorry, I was with the polybuild on, so let's just change it. Let's go here. Now, I want to use just one edge like this one and do again the object the object spin. So you can see it's only spinning that curve and it's not creating a solid, it's creating a surface, which could be fine in some situation, but this is not what we want right now. So you make sure you want to select all vertices or all edges or all the points to have a solid. And you also want to make sure that you are on 360 degrees and that you use the auto merge. So this is our first object here, a nice glass. Really simple. Remember, if it looks strange, try to flip the normals. I think this is better. And also try to increase the number of steps if you want something more curvy and less faceted. If you need to print it in 3D, you need a lot of polygons like this if you want something smooth. Okay, and now let's move on. Let's go to the next one. And I'm gonna use now, I'm gonna go back to this 2D view. I'm gonna add a circle. Again, I'm gonna use the alignment to the view. So it's gonna be aligned here. And I can see it frontally. And if I go again into edit mode, you can see the circle is already defined as a curve. It's not a solid, it's not a face, it's nothing in 3D, it's in 2D. So if I start to delete vertices here by selecting them and press X and delete vertices, this is going to be our profile. So let's delete also these other vertices right here. Make sure you have one in the exact middle so that it closes the shape. And now let's work with these other points. So if you want, you can move them around and start with these. You can also increase the number of those by increasing the size of the circle. And if you want to do something more curvy, you can use also proportional editing right here. So it's not going to affect only that point, but it's going to affect the nearby points. So you can do again something more rounded. I'm just gonna go like with fantasy here. I'm not doing anything in particular. And here you can adjust the height of the item, which is the vertex right here. So if it's not okay, if you want to place it perfectly in one position, you can use the values. So I want this perfectly at 0, and this is going to be -1 epsilon and z 0. And also here I want it to be perfectly to -1, so this is going to be like a straight line, and so it's going to have like a perfectly flat base. So again, try to play around with this and create your shape, and just, you know, play around. And I don't know what I'm creating right now, but it's just again an example. You can use an image as a reference plane and create like a glass or an ancient vase or whatever. Okay, so let's say that this is fine for me, and I'm still using the grid right now, but I can also turn off the grid if I want more freedom. Okay, now let's revolve this. Let's see what's gonna happen. So if I go in 3D, select all the vertices and do again the spin. So go here, spin, and again, let's extrude this. Let's decrease the number of steps. This is too much, so we can see better. And now let's do again 360. Okay, so you can see that that's a nice base, customized shape. Now it's not a solid though, so to make it a solid, we can use the modifier here, Solidify. So it creates like a thickness to this. It can go outside or inside. It can be even with even thickness, and you can see it's looking fine. Now, if we want, we can use this as a low poly model. But if we apply the Solidify and then we use also the subdivision surface, this is going to become smoother and smoother, and it's going to look more like clay. Now let's make one last example. It's going to be the more complex. And I'm going to go for the object add and plane. You can see I'm still in the 2D view here, and I'm gonna go again with the alignment to the 3D view. So you can see I have a square right now, so I have less points, and I also only have one face that I want to get rid of. So if I want to work with curve, I just go here, select the face, and press X and do delete only face. So I'm gonna be left with the curve and with the points, but I don't want to use all these points. I want to get rid of these, and that's it. And this one, I want to bring it down here again to the middle. So you can see I have like a L shape. So I'm gonna bring this down. So this is gonna be my base, and then I want to create something right here. Now there are many ways you can do this. The first thing you can do is go here and go to vertices and extrude vertex. So you can bring it down wherever you want. Let's say I want to create like a glass. I'm gonna push it right here. Okay, and then I want to push it up. So also you can do the extrude cursor or add. You can see you can use the control right mouse to do this. So if I bring it here, I can click with the left mouse, but if I hold control and press the right click of the mouse, you can see it's also creating new points. Now, let me just go back here, because you have another option, which is pressing E of the keyboard. So E is gonna mean that you are extruding. So if I hold control and continue to add more points, I have something more curvy. Otherwise, I can just use the other one. So and create one straight line, depending on your design. Let's take the points. And another thing that can be useful is to smooth the vertices, so create something smoother. Now I want to have a double line here. So what I can do is select the segments, all these right here actually. So also this, and right click, and I'm gonna extrude the edges. So I'm gonna create something that is gonna be like a 3D shape. So well, let me adjust it. I want to make it just a little bit smaller, but here I want to make it bigger. So I need to go back to the points, and I want to push this right here. So it needs to be to x0. That's the important part. And also this can go there, and you can see I have some open up part right here, so I can just select these edges and I'm missing something here. So let's take this, and I want to use the extrusion here. So we'll press E, and I want to bring it there. And then we want to make sure everything is merged at the end. But what I'm going to do is create something from this. So I'm going to fill. No, it's not doing something too good. So I'm just going to like right click and new face from edge. Okay, we don't need this subdivision right here. So we need to, let's try to delete that by deleting the edge. Okay, no, it's not good. So what we're gonna do is select all the faces and right click, and let's do the dissolve faces. So it's gonna get rid of the extra cuts that we don't need. Once you merge and dissolve many times to get rid of all the separation lines inside, you can proceed with the spin, and then we can continue with the other tools that we know in Blender to proceed with our work. Now we're gonna stop here. So if you enjoyed this video guide, please subscribe to the channel to stay updated for more video guides. You will find a lot of guides already in the channel, so if you're looking for something specific, just type it in a search bar. You can check the Blender video course if you want to learn the basics and you want to become an expert. If you want to support us in creating more videos, please join the channel as a supporter. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next.